We are at Matt Hardy's house, and we are going to be doing a felt overlap video. The back slope has already been approved on this roof. You can see all the way kind of down there. That's where we pulled the shingle. That was originally where most of the damage was, but showing the roof was not repairable, and also matching. The whole back slope has been approved because, I mean, you can see there are some roads where matching would be an issue looking up at this roof if you had a different back slope compared to a different front. But today we're just going to be removing a piece of the ridge and showing that if we were to just replace the back slope, we would have to overlap the felt at least 6 inches into the adjoining slope. And we're going to see if that would be possible on this roof, how things are. I have a piece of wrapping right now that will be used in place of the felt just to kind of show. And I will be removing this section of ridge right here, nailing that in just to show where 6 inches, and then tucking it to see if that would be a possibility, if we could replace just the back slope without disturbing the front slope. And you can see I already came and did remove part of this ridge to show that we would have to. However, these shingles right here, I just showed in the video that we would need to remove the nails. We're actually going to remove the nails now in this case. So I'm going to be very careful when removing this in order to get all these shingles out. I'm being very careful so we can reinstall everything. Again, you can see, very careful. We had removed, or I had sealed everything back up so there would be no problems. Now we're just going to unseal these sections right here. All of the ridge has also been approved, which is why we would be replacing this part anyways. You can see where I had sealed this down. You can see that nail just popped right through that. Again, I'm being very gentle, even just putting my crowbar right there, or pry bar. You can see that shingle just fell apart. Again, showing the repairability of this roof. You can see even to get this unsealed here, it is very difficult. Let me see if I can get this side off first, maybe. That whole tab right where that nail was is just lifting as well. Again, just trying to get these unsealed even. I think that is it. There we go. You can see that nail came right up with that. Again, even just getting this piece off is proving to be difficult. And I'm being as gentle as I can. You can see all the granules just coming right off of that as I try to get this unsealed. I'm trying to be as gentle as I can be. Again, those granules are just coming right off. That slipped right through. You can see that whole piece just ripped right there as I was taking it off. You can see just how much material is coming off with that as well. Again, and I am being very, very gentle here, taking my time to make sure these get removed properly. can see that these shingles being resealed down. Again, trying to be very gentle when removing that. Just ripped even just my brief finger touching it. Trying to get this out. There we go. You can see it caused a rip right there. Shingles are just falling apart. Again, there we go. Perfect. And I'm going to put these in the order that they were, or the reverse order they were installed. You can see just how much material. You can see just how much. That wasn't even where we had placed it in before. That was just from how the shingles were installed the first time. Again, being very gentle as to make sure everything comes up as nice as possible. There we go. You can see right along here before, I mean, again, we had removed this ridge and I showed it in that video. Any consequential damages, see that this roof is not very repairable. Again, replacing just the back slope would be difficult because any adjoining shingles would most likely look just like these. You can see the felt already overlapping here, which I showed in my first video. Again, you can see how tight these shingles, how tight that felt is tucked underneath. You can see the granules also just coming right off, even just tapping with my hand, which is very gentle, even compared to a hammer. Then just granules coming right off the ridge. You can even see just down on those shingles. Now we have that unsealed. Again, being very gentle here. Let's just solely show being last. You can see even just here, I mean, in order to get this felt to overlap, we would need to remove shingles, but I am going to be going all the way so we can provide as much. You can see that just busted right through. Again, being gentle, and I created a hole. Busted right through. That delaminated fairly easily that time. There you go. I mean, you can, even just seeing this now, I mean, there would be no way to do this, but again, whatever evidence, we're just seeing how it would happen, or how we would have to do it, as if we were doing a real repair or really replacing the entire back slope. You can see right there where that nail had just completely ripped through that shingle. Again, right there, it had slipped. Coming delaminated. Also right there, had just ripped right through. Blood, no worries. And that's just from trying to remove these shingles. Move these down just to again show. We're now at the section where I had not previously removed, because again, in the first video I had showed, gotten to this point, and you can just see how getting these out would be very difficult, or overlapping this felt would be very difficult. This nail does not want to come out. You can see the nail's not even coming out straight. I'm going to switch sides here. I'm trying to be very careful. That nail did not come out straight, but you can see it busted right through anyways. You can see they just delaminate so easily. And we are now to nearly 1 full shingle, which means that I could show the felt overlap. We're having to tuck this underneath. So I'm just gonna see how long this is. That would be about what a shingle would be, and we would need to overlap it. And so we would need to overlap it at least 6 inches there. So it looks like I will have to remove some more ridge just to get this so it's a full piece as if it were a shingle, since I don't want to remove all this end cap here, because once I start removing that, then these shingles coming down. And again, you can kind of see the problem of just replacing the back slope, and since we're replacing all of the ridges here, I mean, coming here, you can even see, just to point out, you can see right here where there are actually shingles that go on top of this. So as we remove this, we would then have to fully remove the nails here, and then in order to get to this right here, this ridge, and by pulling those nails out, again, resealing could be an issue. As we're taking them out, the repairability is definitely a concern here. As you can see with a lot of the other things, we would be replacing the ridge, but still for these shingles alone, even just getting these out would cause some problems. So again, just gonna remove some more of this ridge. Being careful every step of the way. And if this appears like I'm going slow, again, I am being very careful. Or if you had a number of other people, they would want to get this done very quickly, and the damage would be even worse. Even me being very gentle, again, you can see that, I mean, granules are coming off. The shingles are just not holding up. Let's see if we can get that. Again, being very, very careful. Came out. There we are. Probably need at least one more. And even just removing that, granules are coming off. See if I can get this unsealed. There we are. And so we have that one off. Let's see if that will be enough, or if we need to remove one more. we will probably need to remove just one more. Again, this is a lot of ridge. Taken off. Again, the first time you can just see that felt. I mean, it's gonna be difficult to say the least. We're gonna do everything we can. Again, just showing that we wouldn't really have too many other options other than replacing the front slope as well, since the consequential damage. Switching sides again to be very careful, because I don't want to cause any unnecessary. You can see that this is just, I mean, right there, ripped right through. I'm trying to be as careful as I can be. And even being careful, you can see all that material transfer right there. Now, I do believe that will be enough to do what we need to do. So I am going to get this piece of felt, or in place of what would be felt, I'm going to make sure it overlaps and show that you can see 6 inches from the ridge. That is a little bit longer, so we'll actually go make sure that this, because this is the side that we're going to be worried about since we're already replacing the back, but 6 inches from the ridge right there. So we are going to get this in place so we can overlap 6 inches. Over here is a little bit shorter, so I am going to put it just like that, and then we're going to be installing just some cap nails to hold this down in place so we can show how we would actually have to overlap it. I'm actually going to put this through the ridge here so you can see all the granules coming right off. But I'm going to put it on the ridge since that'll be much better for protecting and making sure everything is sealed. So, and you can just see the granules coming off this, making sure everything goes in nice and straight. Gonna get 2 more. Again, you can just see all the granules coming right off. And there we are. So we are now, I'm going to show right to this side. If we were going to do the felt, again, this is just in place of the felt. We'd have to remove these nails. I'm not even going to come from the bottom. I'm actually going to remove these nails from the top, as to be as careful as possible and show exactly what would happen even if we remove these from the top, which more than likely you would have to have very special attention to remove everything from the top nails when doing this. You can see that those nails are just sticking, don't want to come out of there. Let's see if I can get this. There we are. Again, moving from the top. There we are. Just here, I mean, that ripped right through. Again, from the top, as if we were doing this For real. Being as careful as possible. And I'm also going to be removing these nails over here. That nail ripped right through. Being very careful. Oh, that nail is being a problem. Came right through. Again, coming from the top has to not cause any other problems. You can see now of all that, I mean, like even just lifting here, you can see there's actually, so there's two rows. I mean, that shingle just fully just came right off of there. Same with that. I mean, you can see the shingles underneath now have those removed. And I'm going to now try to get this felt to go underneath both of these as if we needed to tuck it. Again, I have not you can see how difficult it is to even get under here. And again, if we were removing all of these, there wouldn't be additional nails to even hold these down in place as I do this. And again, I'm just trying to get this 6 inches, as you could see when I measured it. I mean, I can't even get down to that point. Again, and I came from the top specifically so we wouldn't have to do anything to show that this is what it would look like to get this under. Trying to see. I mean, again, there's this shingle and then the very top of this one. So even though the nails have been removed from this top row, where it was recommended we could still tuck the felt, I am not. Again, this is just crinkling, folding. I am now hitting where the second row of nails is. You can see that I'm not going to be able to get 6 inches. I mean, we'll measure just to be sure, which is what I pointed out in my first video, is we would need to remove those nails all throughout. But if we're overlapping 6 inches, we're going to have to go all the way down to where that line is. See a little bit there. But again, this, I am not going to be able to tuck this all the way in. It is literally getting stopped. You can see that I try to push it in, try to go deeper, and it is just getting completely stopped. I would have to remove even more of this. So in order to get this installed, which you can see I am not able to do, it is hitting up against on here. I am going to have to check and see what kind of nails there are. I mean, literally, if I were to push any harder, you can already see this is starting to lift. You're lifting. It is literally impossible for me to get that tucked all the way under without having to remove these nails. So again, I'm going to just show exactly how we would do this if we were really going to do it, how it would have to be done. These partially inside, you can see where those nails are. let's see, even if we do that, that did loosen it up just a little bit, but you can see now we would have to delaminate. We'll all check again just to be extra sure to see step by step. We weren't able to do it by just removing the nails from the top, so now I'm going to check if we can get it in by delaminating these shingles and get it in that way. And again, if we had taken off all of this ridge and all of that ridge, these shingles up top would have nothing to hold them in. And since this is just a simulated occurrence, so I'm now hitting this lower section where it still won't let me push it all the way. You can see just how loose this is. Let's see if I can get this. Again, it is not wanting to go down. Again, this tarping is actually more durable than felt. Shoving felt would be even worse. I'm going to remove even another piece of this ridge since I'm having trouble. And this is so we'll now see again. I'm gonna remove this from the top just to be extra careful. You can see it ripping right through the shingle. You can see the entire thing lifting up. And now you can see where it's still laminated over here. Again, I can't even get this, and this was the side that was shorter than this side, and the shorter side I can tell I've now lifted the very tops. You can see to get down to that line, you can see just lifting up that. So you can see just to get those in, again, I was not even able to get it in without these shingles having to be undone. And you can see that, again, if there was nothing holding it down over here and nothing holding it down over here, that these shingles would have just come right off. I mean, still to get it to 6 inches, you can see where these nails came right through there. There literally is nothing to hold these shingles. So you can see that it even came delaminated all the way over. Same with over here. You can see it got all the way to here, and it even started to cause, you can see some creasing right there from just pushing it under. There is slight creasing. Again, showing the simulation of what we would have to do to overlap this. You can see it's still loose. Even now, I'll see if I can get it any better. So if we were to overlap like this, that's pretty good. And these shingles are, again, just creasing, having some issues. But in order to overlap that, we would then come and reinstall all the nails. But you can see, I mean, right here, nail popping out, causing damage, causing damage. You can see right here, causing damage. You can see all the granules just coming off of these shingles. You can even see over here, you can see it is starting to crease right here, where just from tucking that, again, if we were to keep pulling this, it would probably just delaminate all of that. But again, I couldn't even tuck it where it was laminated. I could not get it far enough in without having to delaminate the shingles. If I were to push any harder, I would worry about causing even more damage, and that would be the case. You can see clearly. So if we were to just do the back slope and replace it, it would cause this whole, at least top row, to have all the nails removed all the way across, which the whole top row then, this row right here, again, and with this piece right here, you would even see, we would, at bare minimum, if you would argue that the second row wouldn't need to be removed, but even just this first row, I mean, we would have to remove all these shingles. You can see the damage that was caused just because of the age of the shingles and their condition. And if we were to get over to here, where these are even interconnected, we would have to replace those shingles as well, and it would be all the way down. You can even see over here, you have this top row right here, but over on this side, you can see that this shingle goes all the way, which is even further than over here. And so if we were to come over here and do the same exact thing, trying to just push that under, this whole shingle would become delaminated and would basically fall off. And because of how it's attached to the next one, especially with how you can see on some of these ridge and shingles, I mean, there's material transfer all along. So it would pull material up. You can see it would go all the way down here. And because of that, we would have to replace those shingles. When we replace those shingles, they're not going to look the same. They're not going to match. And dimensionally as well, I don't believe they would match. And so replacing all of these, it would have one row of shingles that looks completely different, which again, from the street, you can see it's a circle down here. Having just that entire looking completely different would not return it to a uniform basic appearance, and would warrant us, you know, replacing. And as we go down, then it would be, you know, the full front slopes. Again, we already have the ridge over here. You can see this high profile ridge, which has already been approved. I mean, if we were to come in to even get to this right here, you can see to replace this, we would have to delaminate. I mean, these shingles right here to remove, we would then have to remove this shingle right here. And once we remove that shingle, again, because of the repairability of this roof and everything, it would not be possible without warranting a full roof replacement. Again, just even, you can literally just see, to get to this, we would not be able to remove this without removing this shingle and this shingle above, which means we'd have to delaminate two above. So we'd have to delaminate this one, just to remove this shingle. And this shingle goes all the way across there, so two up in this section. And then we would be able to then remove this, replace it with a new piece, and then reinstalling. But again, it would cause a bunch of consequential damage. This roof is not repairable and would warrant a full roof replacement. And you can see that's the case with not only right here on the front, but also right here and right here and right here. So all of these, doing a ridge replacement, which has already been approved, again, it would not be possible without removing all these shingles. And I mean, that one shingle turns to 3, 9, 9 to 27, and then would warrant the full front slope. You can also see that down here is another place. You have all this ridge already approved, but if you were to have a totally different looking shingle, if you were to replace the top, you would then have to replace the bottom shingles as well, so everything would match and have a uniform appearance. Again, you couldn't just replace, you would have different looking ridge with a different shingle than the upper section, therefore warranting a full a full replacement. Now we're going to go back and I'm going to reinstall this ridge and seal everything down. But you can see again, these shingles would come undone with this ridge. I mean, anything with all these 4 sections in the front and even right here, these 2 sections. I mean, you can't just replace the back slope and the ridge without having to replace the remaining slopes of the roof. Thank you so much. Again, this is Matt Hardy's house.